So breaking news, everybody. President Joe Biden is running for a second term. Here is his announcement video.
Freedom. Personal freedom.
He looks like he was asked a question on a game show and he doesn't know what to say, so he goes to his joke answer. Freedom. That's what it looks like.
Serious.
Did you see this, Kurt? No. Watch this. Watch the play. Start from the beginning,
we'll
please.
Run this. All right.
Watch this.
All right.
Watch this, Kurt. Watch this.
Freedom.
He's going to be president.
Keep it down to one word.
Freedom. All right, let's keep. All right, let's see if we can get through this.
Is this the new Budweiser commercial?
Personal freedom is fundamental to who we are as Americans.
There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred.
That's been the work of my first term.
Freedom?
To fight for our democracy.
Oh,
It shouldn't be.
so can you pause?
Revolution.
Because it certainly wasn't fighting for the working class. It certainly wasn't. It wasn't fighting for regular people. It certainly wasn't fighting for anything except the military-industrial complex, health insurance companies, and big pharma. That's the only thing you fought for. You didn't fight for
You didn't
anything
say
else.
your democracy.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm fighting for democracy.
Our.
You mean by crushing a railroad worker strike? Is that how, by actually committing fascism? Is that how you defend democracy?
You should be free to do that.
Oh boy.
To protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally and that everyone is given a fair shot at making it. But you know, around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting.
And which you advocated for doing.
For doing.
Yes.
Your
yes.
whole career.
Yes.
Can you pause it? Somebody said that Joe Biden's been in politics for like 50 years.
Yeah.
And elected at the national level, federal level, and he's still saying he's going to fix shit. He's still saying he hasn't fixed a thing yet.
Yeah.
He's had every position,
Yes.
like every single one of them.
And he's the cause of most of our problems. The reason why people are bankrupt, the reason why people can't get out of bankruptcy, the reason why we're the world's biggest penal colony is because of him. Okay, sorry.
And look, it's the same script. He's not running on his policies.
No,
he's running on fear mongering about and like so in 2020 he ran on Charlottesville, the protests from 2017. And then this year they just had the same script. They just replaced Charlottesville with January 6th. It's the
I tell you,
Yes.
I tell you about new threat. These guys that can't get laid, they're everywhere.
Wealthy, dictating what healthcare decisions women can make, banning books, and telling people who they can love, all while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
Slow motion walk. Because regular motion, he looks fragile.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul.
There is no doubt in my mind that they have sped his voice up on this video.
Oh yeah,
There is no doubt they're trying to make him sound less slurry and more coherent. He doesn't speak like that anymore. That is sped up. Okay, here we go.
America, and we still are. The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. I know what I want the answer to be, and I think you do too. This is not a time to be complacent. That's why I'm running for re-election.
That's why.
Because I know America. I know we're good and decent people.
But half the country, though, is white supremacists, I'm pretty sure.
except for those one guys, so you gotta look out for them.
Except for everybody who likes to vote for my political opponents. Those people are horrible.
The ultra MAGA.
Ultra MAGA.
He was good friends with one of the biggest white supremacists
in the history.
Strom Thurmond, who spoke at his.
What about Byrd?
Oh, and Bert, yeah, well, sure, yeah.
And
But
Strom Thurmond, yeah.
He spoke at his funeral about what great friends they were.
I know we're still a country that believes in honesty and respect and treating each other with dignity. That we're a nation where we give hate no safe harbor. We believe that everyone is equal, that everyone should be given a fair shot to succeed in this country.
Thank you for choosing us.
Every generation of Americans has faced a moment when they have to defend democracy. Stand up for our personal freedom. Stand up for the right to vote and our civil rights.
Nothing. He's talking about nothing.
And this is our moment.
This is our moment?
We the people, not the side.
Here's
So
some
if you what? Go ahead.
here's some pictures of black-eyed people.
Yes. So if you lost your house, or if you don't have health care, or if you're under a mountain of student debt, or if you don't have a living wage and you have no future or how to get there, or if you're a high school graduate who wants to get married and own a home, you can't find any pathway. Joe Biden's got no answers for you. You're watching that thing and you're like, what the fuck? He's defending democracy. Who gives a shit about if I have democracy? If I have democracy, I don't have health care or a living wage, or if I have a mountain of debt. Who cares if I have democracy? I voted for this? No, you didn't.
Well, Jimmy, Van Jones of CNN has a counterpoint. He says that Joe Biden was good for the progressives.
How so?
When you know that he needs to hold independent voters like he did in 2020, just to remind folks with the exit polls from 2020, in order to win election and re-election this time, what then do progressives want to hear from him so they as well are motivated to turn out for Joe Biden once again?
I think the progressives are in a good position because he gave so much to the progressives in the first 2 years when it comes to just, historic legislation, everything from,
So when you're listening to Van Jones, you might as well be listening to who was George Bush's Karl
Rove.
You might as well be listening to Karl Rove, because Van Jones is paid to lie to you. He's not telling you the truth. He's not giving you insight into politics. He's there to be a hack, a partisan, and to lie to you. He's there to manufacture consent, and he's there to do narrative control on behalf of the Democratic Party, because that's where his butter is breaded, or breaded is butter.
That's where his butter's breaded.
Breaded butter.
I will tell you, if you catch him on like a Project Veritas video, he's remarkably forthcoming.
Oh, really?
Did you ever see that? Where he's
No.
talking about how Russiagate's he goes, oh, it's a big
No,
nothing.
are you kidding?
Yeah, that was one of that.
No, but
James O'Keefe's
I'm
first.
sure. And then he goes on CNN and pushes it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's straight up outside smoking a cigarette, and they're just talking to him. He's like, it's nonsense.
So, what did he have more to say? Was that it?
Van, yeah,
Yeah.
let's hear more.
in the first 2
Okay.
years when it comes to just, historic legislation, everything from, climate to the CHIPS Act, marriage equality. People forget
What
about.
the
Did he
fuck?
say marriage
What is he
equality?
He was just like, oh shit, I got to start thinking of stuff.
The
What did he
CHIPS
do? The
Act.
CHIP Act.
What's the CHIPS Act?
The CHIPS Act.
He gave
How is that
so
good for progressives?
much.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Joe, take a break. You've been giving us so much. He didn't give us the $2,000 check. He's going to go out the door the next day. He didn't give us a minimum wage. He didn't legalize marijuana. He didn't give people a public option. He didn't end COVID. He didn't do anything. He didn't
Not
give
even the student loan thing.
student loan thing. He didn't do. Did nothing. And
Paid
he-
family leave. That
paid-
was a big signature thing, and they dropped that so quickly.
And as Joe Biden is making sure, and this is a fact, that Nazis in Ukraine get Social Security payments, he's taking away dental and health care from Americans. At the exact same time, he's funding Social Security payments to Nazis in Ukraine. He's taking health care and dental care away from Americans in this economy. That's what Joe Biden's doing. And that's the kind of shit that Van Jones is capping for. Is that what they say? I don't know.
Capping?
Is that it? I said it right, I think.
Wow.
Thank you.
I didn't know. I've never heard of it.
So normally in a primary, you have debates, right? And here is Democratic presidential candidate RFK Jr. inviting Joe Biden to a new era of respectful dialogue in these times of division. Well,
So here's what he says. He's what?
Okay, no.
He says, I have known and liked Joe Biden for many years. Sounds like fucking Bernie. But we differ profoundly and fundamentally on issues such as corporate influence in government, censorship, civil liberties, poverty, corruption, and war policy, among others. But other than that, he's a good guy. I look forward to keep it up there. I look forward to engaging him in debates and town hall meetings. Well, you could go pound sand, sir, because you're not going to.
That will never in a million
In a primary
years.
election that is honest, civil, and transparent. I invite him into a new era of respectable dialogue in these times of division. Now, what do you think? What is the point of him making a tweet like that? Like that he knows none of that stuff's going to happen, and he's just spewing platitudes. But is that just so?
He's playing the game. He's just playing the game.
So what game?
He's hoping
it's a losing game.
He's hoping to appeal to people who support Biden as well, to also encourage dialogue and debates, thinking that might work. Playing nice guy. Yeah,
he's not that naive, right? So that's why I think, like, what is he doing this for?
Can't possibly be.
He's not that naive. So that's why I don't.
Speaking of naive, here's Bernie announcing already, I'm in to do what I can to make sure that the president is reelected. Already, Bernie.
That is how damaging the information that they have on me is.
Here's Chuck Modi on Twitter. We're 1.5 years from the general election. Democratic primaries haven't even started. Field not even set. F Bernie, seriously. And speaking of debates, RFK Jr. invited Biden to a debate. Well, here's from the Washington Post. The National Democratic Party has said it will support Biden's reelection, and it has no plans to sponsor primary debates. So, according to that, looks like the DNC is not sponsoring any primary debates.
Of course not. Why? How, if you can't like speed him up talking or give him his talking pills before, why would you ever? Remember they had him not. They didn't want to have him debate Trump the last one, even though it went kind of surprisingly well for him.
Here's Caitlin Johnston. So Democratic voters mostly don't want Biden to run again. That's true according to polls. Most Democratic voters are opposed to Biden running, but he's running again, and he's also not holding any primary debates while he runs again. That seems even more undemocratic than most presidential elections. And Jimmy, you want a tougher rhetoric from RFK Jr. RFK Jr. responds to DNC's plans to skip primary debates. The system is indeed rigged.
Well, I wish that, we should start playing that video of, what's her name? Elizabeth Warren saying that the primary was rigged. Remember when she said that on CNN? She said, it definitely was rigged. Remember that? Donna Brazile discovered that it was rigged. Bernie Sanders never said a fucking word about it.
How do people vote for Democrats and then like the exact opposite of their vote happens to them? Like every single thing you want, it's not Republicans.
Opposite.
Your party gives you the exact opposite. I'd like someone else to run. Well, no one else is running. We're not going to entertain that idea.
Here's a poll on what Democratic voters think.
Ahead of the re-election announcement, a CBS News poll found Democrats accept Biden's re-election bid, but aren't necessarily excited about it. And still, nearly half of Democrats don't want the 80-year-old to run, and they cite his age as the reason.
Is that a percent for every year of his age?
Yeah. Why don't they ever... the biggest voting bloc in America are the people who don't vote. The second biggest voting bloc in America are people who consider themselves independents. They only care about the people who are in those two parties. Why don't they poll about people who won't vote say fuck this guy, and an independent say double fuck him? You know what I mean? That's what you would get. But they go, so Democrats still accept him. Democrats are a quarter of the country, if that. 25% of the country, if that. And that's all they want to talk about is the people, and the Republicans too, 25%. The biggest parts of the country don't consider themselves Democrats or Republicans.
The people who are the most psychotic about abortion in either direction, that's who they worry about.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoever has the most extreme, because it's bizarre, it's coming up so much now. Like, who was asking for this? A very small sliver of people.
We're telling jokes in Nashville, Honolulu, Los Angeles, Northampton, Massachusetts, Syracuse, Cohoes, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Baltimore, Chicago, Rosemont, San Diego, and more. Go to jimmydore.com to get a link for all those tickets. Plus, you can watch my new special, COVID Lies Are Funny.